Everything is perfect. Let's go, Tahir. Tell me, how are you? You took your first flight, I saw, to Delhi. How was that?
Yes, I did. I mean, I want to start off by apologizing first of all, because for people watching this, you don't know, we've been trying to do this for what, 3 weeks now?
Yes, 3 weeks now. Absolutely.
Yeah. So here's what's happened in Bombay, right? We've been in lockdown for about 3 months, and then there was a hectic monsoon. And then all of a sudden, all the work that was bottled up for those 5 months is gradually opening up, and there's been this inflow. So all of a sudden, everyone wants the same time slots, and we've just been going back and forth. But I'm so glad it's finally working out.
Me too. Finally, thank you so much. So you're like in the middle of a shoot, I hear. So tell me about you traveling.
I'm in the middle of a shoot in a village slightly outside of Delhi, which would explain my network. But I'm in the vanity van, and we've connected to a dongle. And don't ask me. I wish I could show you the behind the scenes of this interview. But to answer your question, yes, I took my first flight out because I guess it had to happen at some point, and I was like, you got to start somewhere. And I spoke to a lot of my family that works in the airlines, and they mentioned a bunch of safety precautions that are really essential to take. And I was actually very impressed with both the Bombay and the Delhi airport, because they're following all the protocols. And the flight I was in actually had the center seat empty, which I was really relieved by.
Amazing.
And it was really tense. Like, it felt like a war zone when I was in the flight in the airport.
Wow, that is absolutely crazy. Tahir, tell me, how has lockdown been for you? Like, how was the entire few months? Because obviously we were not doing anything. And for you, like being an actor, and I think like a creative person, you've always been on your feet, you're always doing things here and there. So how did you adapt to the entire situation?
Sure, it was, there were a bunch of emotions. Like, I wish I could say I was the same throughout, but I had good weeks and bad weeks. And when I started off, first of all, I had been shooting constantly for the past 2 years. So it was a great time to, I have a breather. But you'll be surprised as to how quickly that breather and turns into, oh my God, what do I do now?
Exactly.
And that's when your sort of instinct, because, and I'm sure this is true of your line of work as well, we're used to sort of working from home a whole lot. So you go back into your default setting and you try and find your own rhythm and your routine, and just sort of try and balance being productive and being sane, and try to balance both of those things. But what changed a lot for me is how, like, almost overnight, like our lives became so heavily dependent on technology, and all of a sudden everything started happening on Zoom calls and WhatsApp calls. So I have a film that we were meant to shoot during the lockdown, and all of a sudden we were doing acting rehearsals via Zoom video. I was doing meetings with the director on Zoom video. It was the new way of doing things. It was also great that we had that as an alternate, but it made you all the more miss what life used to be like before. Like that being in the same room and jamming with a co-actor or a director, there's really no replacement for that.
Absolutely, it's different. When you're face to face, it's completely different. When you're on set, even when you're going for workshops, I'm guessing it's completely different as opposed to rehearsing via Zoom calls. But like you said, at least there was an alternative. I mean, imagine if there wasn't. I think even your rehearsals wouldn't have been happening. Your workshops wouldn't have been happening. So I think in that sense, thankful for technology, like you said. But Tahir, you also celebrated your birthday in lockdown too, in April. How was that?
That was one of my sort of down days, because as actors we follow like these very strict regiments of like, this is what you can eat, this is your exercise time, but your birthday is the one day where you'll find me not in the most productive states, let's just put it that way. And it's only fun to be like that when you've got like friends or family over, and to celebrate your birthday over a Zoom video. I would say it wasn't like the most celebratory birthday I've had, but in a sense I was also very fortunate, because what the lockdown did was everyone I knew all over the world was free on the day. It was like no one had any excuses. So I spoke to like my cousins who I haven't spoken to in years. I spoke to friends in Australia, friends in Canada. So it was great that in a way, it sort of brought everyone together as well.
How lovely is that? Tahir, let's talk about 83. You guys were here in the UK. You were filming that. Tell me, and of course, there were a few announcements just the other day about it possibly and potentially releasing on an OTT platform. But first, we'll talk about the release in a minute. But tell me the entire experience of filming 83, because I mean the amount of videos that we saw of you guys that were posted on social media, there's so much hype of this film, and it just looks like you guys have had a crazy time filming for it. So tell me a little bit about the entire experience of the film.
For sure, an experience, like that's exactly what I'd call the film, because sometimes there are films that you pick because it's an amazing direct. You pick it because, oh my God, this is an amazing part that I want to play. But when the script of it, and I heard that go to real location, they were going to spend 3 months in the UK as it. I was like, wow, experience, because when else get to those shoes, and not in a studio, but like being the players like they were back in 83. And it was absolutely like that. We would travel on a bus, we together in the practice every little day.
I think I've lost you, Tahir.
I feel.
Oh. Tahir, are you there?
Yeah, I hear you, but I can't see you.
The line is super bad. Yes, now that I've got you back. I think so. But it seems like it's frozen all over again. Can you hear me? I think the connection is bad.
I mean, relatively.
Yes, relatively, yes. So tell me, we were talking about 83. You were saying that it was an experience for you.
I mean, I look back at it as an experience film, just because when else is a film in Bollywood going to be made where you move to the UK for 3 months and live as the cricketers? And I have to admit, and I've said this before, I'm not a professional cricket player at all. I'm a gully cricket player. I played like in small lanes and at the garden back in my house, where the rules were, if you break the auntie's window, then you're out. And if you get it over the fence, then it's a six. So to go from that to playing Sunil Gavasker took a lot of training. We were in training for about 6 months. And the director, Kabir Khan, was very particular that we wouldn't be using body doubles, that he wanted the actors to have the action right, because if you get the physicality right, you'll get the attitude. And I'm so glad that we did that. And it was just an absolute blast, because we were at Trent Bridge, we were at Warwick, we were in Scotland for a bit. It was just every Desi kid's dream come true.
Absolutely. And like I said, the vibe that we got from you guys, just as a viewer on social media or just reading articles on you guys filming it, it just looked like so much fun. Now, of course, in this entire pandemic, we don't know if it's going to get a theatrical release or OTT, but does the fact that it might release on an OTT, would that bother you much?
I think at this stage, I would be really, it would be amazing if the film got an audience. However, I would be a little more biased toward getting a cinematic release, purely because
I think I've lost you again. Oh. Can you hear me? Tahir, frozen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me what you were saying. Yeah, yeah.
So what I was saying is, I like at this point it would be amazing for the film to have an audience, but I would be a little biased towards it getting a theatrical release, because there's something irreplaceable about experiencing the film in a dark room with with 1,000 other people. It sort of simulates the stadium environment, which is what a film like this really deserves.
Of course, of course. So do we have an update on it? Like, do we know what's happening with the release of the film?
No, really, I really wish I knew.
Well, we are sitting here awaiting an announcement for this, because it's been a really long time coming, I think, you know. But unfortunately, the pandemic has played false for. It's nobody's fault. We can't blame it on anybody, but it is what it is. And all in all, I think the fact that it will be such a beautiful film, and the fact that we get to experience something like this, whether it's a theatrical release or whether it's on an OTT platform, I think the fact that we get to relive such a historic moment.
I'm also on the upside. Sorry to cut you there. On the upside, I feel really fortunate that we shot it at the time that we did, because making a film like that today would be incredibly difficult.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you. So I think in terms of filming it, you guys just scraped it, right? It was literally just right before lockdown. So let's see. Let's hope for the best, I think. I think it'll be fine. But also, Tahir, you've been one of the very fortunate actors who have walked the red carpet at Cannes Film Festival as well. How would you describe that particular moment for you?
And it was just, I mean, I don't like using the word, but it was surreal, because it was when I started off shooting Manto, it was just like this small boutique project that we were shooting in the villages of Gujarat. And I did it honestly because I would have a chance to share screen space with Nawaz, who I feel is an incredible actor. And 1 year later, we were walking the Cannes red carpet, and to have that in only I think it was my third or fourth film, so early on in the career, it was just amazing. And I made a trip out of it. I carried my backpack with me, and soon after Cannes finished, I had one suitcase full of tuxedos, and then I had my backpacking clothes in another suitcase, and I got on a train and hopped across to Italy after that. Again, fortunate that I managed to do it at the time that I did, because I started off with Cinque Terre, which is the northern part of Italy, and sort of backpacked my way down to Florence after that, and spent some time in Rome. But coming back to the Cannes red carpet, it is everything that you read about, and I was just so happy for the film, because for it to get recognized on an international platform just goes to show that what Manto, the film, and the author were talking about, which is religious equality and the right for art not to be censored, is so relevant today, actually, more than ever.
More than ever. I agree 100%. I think, Tahir, you've had such a wonderful run in your career in such a short space of time. I think your films have been amazing. Mardani being one of my favorites. I think that was just fantastic. I remember watching it and just thinking, this guy is amazing. You were fantastic in the film. But also, Tahir, let's, I think, talk about some of your upcoming projects as well. Run, Lola, Run. You've got that with Taapsee as well, which is, of course, I think, Lapeta, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that. Have you guys, did you guys start shooting it already, or is that yet to be done?
That's a project that was meant to be shot in June and July and has now been pushed. We're going to be shooting it most likely in November. And I'm super excited about it, because Run Lola Run is a film that I watched when I was in college, and never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I'd be in the Indian adaptation. And I use the word adaptation and not remake, because it's really been adapted to an Indian context and to today's time, because the film was made in the 90s. And it's structured in such a way that even someone who hasn't seen the original, like a lot of people in India might not have, it will still appeal to them.
But from an acting point of view, the fact that it's a romantic lead and I haven't done that in the past few films that I've done is really exciting. And who better to do that with than Taapsee, because she's someone who I've seen transition from an actor to a star, and she really sort of goes from strength to strength in every project that she does.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always felt that acting it's like a ping pong game or a game of tennis. You're like as good as your partner is, and I look forward to sponging off some of that energy that Taapsee brings to set.
And we look forward to seeing both of you on screen for that one. I think it's going to be fantastic. Tahir, listen, it's been really, really nice talking to you. And thank you so much for taking the time out from your shoot.
Thank you. No, my
really,
apologies
really
again. This should have happened 2 weeks ago. And
no
problem. Many.
Absolutely. Me too. And listen, good luck with everything. All the best with all your shoots, your projects. And we really look forward to it. You're an amazing actor and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Anushka. Thank you.
Take care. See you. Bye. Bye.